I've not seen this, so we're watching this together as friends on the internet. There's a little thing going on. This thing, proudly, very proudly, I like it when the community does stuff that I'm not involved in, and it's just like a thing that people like to do, and I don't have to pay attention to it. And this one, for whatever reason, has kind of escaped velocity from the Kiwi farms, and it's now a thing that people actually talk about, like on Twitter and shit, to the point where I feel like I should canonize it and actually make trophies and send them out to people. Because trophies are cheap, if you didn't know. Even custom ones. I'm, of course, talking about Lolcow of the Year. And the results are right there. It's not even close. Voting in this year's Lolcow of the Year feels like a election in the DPRK. Even what's the thing that XKCD said about voting for Hillary Clinton in 2016? It's like, sure, she sucks, but she's not as bad as Donald Blump. So you gotta hold your nose and do the right thing. I was like, I sure do love my bossman Jack, but Nick Rekieta, I just gotta stake key and cast my vote for him as Lolcow of the Year. There has never been a star that has shined so brightly and burned out so horrifically in the 13 years now? 13 fucking years coming up in February on the Kiwi farms. Truly, someone probably will never be surpassed. There probably will never be anybody quite like Nick Rekieta who comes along ever again. So, very obvious he will be picked as Lolcow of the Year, and let's really explain why. For 2023, I predicted going into 2024, that Nick Rekieta would be shot in the back of the head by a gay Nazi. Let me explain. That requires a little bit of background. So, Rekieta joined the scene through Dick Masterson's show. He did a very small YouTube channel where he had a couple friends, and they just talked about Lolcow litigation. Great idea. Funny. His legal analysis of stupid, simple things that didn't really matter was a great idea. So he joined the Dick Show to talk about the Maddox case, because Maddox sued Dick Masterson in New York. Rekieta did a whole series explaining why his lawsuit was dog shit. Went on to the Dick Show to talk to Dick about why the lawsuit was dog shit, made fun of Maddox. And then he also did other stuff. He talked about lolcows on the Kiwi farms. He took legal documents that he knew were on the site. Talked about Russell Greer suing Ariana Grande and Taylor Swift. Read Russell Greer's books. Did a bunch of stuff. And made a bunch of content. And he had this thing about him where he drank whiskey, because of course lawyers all drink whiskey. He had a wife that was his wife for 20 years. He had 5 children, I want to say. I always forget how many. There's a lot. That's to show you. And it's like, wow, you have this guy. He is a Christian. He's monogamous, faithfully married to the same woman that was his high school sweetheart. And together they had a big, beautiful family in a small town in central Minnesota. Everybody liked him. And he latched on to a particular case that came out of nowhere, where Vic Mignogna, the voice actor for Dragon Ball Z, I always forget who it is. He's a voice actor. I always want to say Goku, but then people correct me. It's like Gohan. Anyways, he's a voice actor, very flamboyant and drama guy. And he got fired over unsubstantiated sexual harassment claims in Funimation, if I remember correctly. Broly, sorry. Isn't Broly like a combination character of like Goku and some other guy? Like, isn't he like a fusion of 2 other characters? Anyways, Vic gets fired, and Rekieta thinks this is bullshit, and he tells Vic Mignogna, "Buddy, you should sue. You should sue for I think it's defamation." And he does. And so he starts up a crowdfund. He gets his own family friend attorney, a Thai beard involved. He crowdfunds hundreds of thousands of dollars to support this man and restoring his life. And the case goes south. Thai beard fucks up the case. It is dismissed on technicalities that could have been avoided if Thai beard was timely in his filings. As a result, because of anti-SLAPP measures in Texas to protect freedom of speech, the fee-shifting provisions put hundreds of thousands of dollars of of attorney's fees on Vic Mignogna. He is devastated by this financial shortcoming, but he still has work in the industry, so he's happy to get away with the skin of his teeth, basically. And the loss doesn't faze Rekieta because he's doing well. He moves on to cover big trials like Rittenhouse and Johnny Depp. He gets over 100,000 live concurrent viewers. He makes more money than VTubers. In the English-speaking YouTube, he makes more money in Super Chats than the VTubers. He rakes in over $2 million in Super Chats over his career. And then he starts getting a little bit too drunk. And he gets a little bit too raunchy. Things look like they're going downhill. He talks about sex more and more. People are turning on him because his content is changing. His character has changed. People are upset. And a huge turning point is that in 2022, I want to say, Rekieta tells a known litigious guy that he is a pedophile who has always liked sucking little baby. And this guy sues Nick Rekieta. And I believe in Rekieta's mind that this is free content. Another Lolcow lawsuit. Me personally involved. This time I'll crowdfund defenses and I'll make all the money that I gave Vic Mignogna to myself. I'll make even more money talking about my silly Lolcow litigation ongoing. I'll win this bad boy, and I'll finally be a real practicing lawyer, right? Well, he had lost the goodwill of his audience, and in addition to that, because what he said about Montegraph was actually pretty horrific, nobody donated to his fund, so he had $6,000. Unfortunately for him, he made the decision to hire one of the most prominent defense attorneys for free speech issues in the entire country, Mark Randazza, who charges a lot of money. And I know that he charges a lot of money because it has been revealed just yesterday that Nick Rekieta took out a loan against his own home, which was paid in full by the trust account his family gave him to fund his lawsuit. And I assume that because of the timing, but he took out $300,000 against his home to pay for Mark Randazza. Well, as he continues to drink and continues to flounder in his lawsuit, defending its Montegraph, his life really, truly blows up in 2023. He is completely sloshed on every single stream, talking about going to like sex parties and shit. It's just a nightmare. And he's like gaslighting me behind the scenes. So, he had this fascination with a movie called American Beauty, which I've never watched, but I did watch a review, I think by Blackpilled, which really synopsizes how this movie is condensed, concentrated demoralization about how family is bad, monogamy is bad, children are bad, your life is a hopeless slog of misery, and things are just completely arbitrary and out of your control, so don't bother to do anything good anyways. He was obsessed with this movie. And at the end of this movie, a man who lives next door, who is very conservative and very anti-gay, just so happens to have a literal Fuhrer bunker in his basement, and is also a closeted homosexual because this movie was written by members of the tribe. So, to really circle this around, I said that it was inevitable that Nick Rekieta would be shot in the back of the head by a gay Nazi. I think I have 2 clips to play from my prediction streams, and I will play them for you now. These are from my hard drive, so they should work. I had hoped this is for better from him. So, I don't know. I don't know what to expect for Rekieta, because my instinct is very negative. But I find it difficult to sit here and say, for 2024, I believe that Rekieta will be divorced and he will be shot in the back of the head by a gay Nazi. You know, I don't want to say that. Actually, you know what? F*** it. 2024, Nicholas Rekieta will be shot in the back of the head by a gay Nazi. And lock it in. That's my prediction. Okay, and then I have another video talking about this a couple days afterwards, because I think he put out this video in the meantime, and I was commenting on that.
And interesting, and I don't know, I'm here for it. there's not much you can do about most things, so you just kind of
Life,
ride with it.
life is like a plastic bag. Some days you're floating in the wind, helpless to every desire and momentary whim of life as a flow. And then one day you wake up naked in bed next to your daughter's best friend, and you are shot dead in the back of the head by a closeted gay Nazi. It just can't be helped. There's nothing you can do. Might as well just drink.
Okay, so I double predicted it. That Rekieta would be shot in the back of the head by a gay Nazi. Was I right? Not in the literal sense. No, in the metaphorical sense, with poetic liberty, chat. Kind of. I introduce you to Aaron Imholt, who I can't show a picture of because my internet is broken on this browser. He hooked up with April Imholt and Aaron Imholt, a couple. Aaron was responsible for a radio broadcast in the area that made him kind of like a local celebrity. He ended up taking a show to the internet, and he developed a friendship with Nick Rekieta. This transformed into an actual relationship where Aaron Imholt, Nick Rekieta, and their two wives did gay shit with each other, wife swapped, and had all sorts of debauched sexual encounters with each other, which ultimately resulted in Aaron Imholt snaking on Nick Rekieta, a metaphorical shot to the back of the head by a gay closeted Nazi. If you would give me the poetic liberties, it is a little bit eerily similar, chat. And this, of course, culminated and occurred after Nick was arrested. He was arrested in June, and it really doesn't feel like it was 6 months ago. But he was arrested for possession of cocaine, possession of coke in a felony amount, and possession of cocaine with weapons, because if you have weapons and controlled substances in the same room together, which he did, allegedly, based off the indictment, that's an additional crime. And then he caught one other particular charge. His daughter, who he has called on stream his favorite child, tested positive for cocaine. She had metabolites in her hair, which indicated to the forensic analysis team that she had ingested cocaine in such a quality that they could not be, that they met the threshold. And not just by a little bit, by a lot, multiple times over the threshold, which seems to indicate, based off her issues with night terrors, Rekieta's statements that cocaine has medical qualities to it, and the fact that she did, in fact, ingest enough cocaine to test positive for it, that he may have given her cocaine as a treatment to her sleeping issues. And this opened Pandora's box and fully, finally, and totally collapsed the house of cards that was the Nick Rekieta streaming empire. And it was truly an empire where he was a king. He had serfs. He had actual lawyers donating their time to just appear on his stream so that they might catch a spark of what he had made for himself. And a couple years later, he is sitting in a county jail facing multiple felonies for a crime that a lot of people consider unforgivable, because it wasn't just impacting him, it was impacting his family, a family that people had vicariously come to love, because it was the family of their guy that they thought was doing a really good thing. So it all came tumbling down. And now I'm in an interesting situation where I know that his house is being foreclosed on. He's selling half of his property. I think I discussed this in private with somebody, just kind of talking. I predicted that in private. He will probably settle the foreclosure with proceeds from the second home. I am not expecting him to become homeless. I am expecting him to take a plea deal, which will be to accept a felony and maybe 1 to 5 years of probation. And if he is smart, he will find a way to settle with Montegraph immediately but for ego reasons, that one's a little bit harder for me to believe. And then, of course, April Imholt will shoot him in the back of the head like in American Beauty. That's actually basically my prediction. Because the one thing that's kind of simmering in the background that doesn't get as much attention because it's not Nick Rekieta, and Nick Rekieta is the one that can't close his fucking mouth, is that he now has two women. He has the ex-wife of Aaron Imholt. I believe April's name is back to Anderson, April Anderson, but Imholt is what I've come to know her by. And he's still married to Kayla, his loving, adoring wife of 20 years. So he has kind of pitted these two women against each other. And women don't really murder people all that often. It happens, but it's not usually a sadistic crime like it is with sexual sadists who are almost always men. Women kill out of love, Chad. They kill out of passion. And they usually only kill one person, and that's their husband, or their boyfriend, or their baby daddy. And that would be Nick Rekieta in all three contexts. So it is possible that because it's kind of hard to explain unless you've talked to him in private, which I have. And he's a gaslighter. He likes to talk to you. He likes to bullshit. He likes to lie about things you know he's lying about because he just enjoys lying. And I feel like when you think about what he's doing, because he's not working, he's not streaming. Like, what is he doing? I feel like he's really just reveling in this constant pitter-patter, catty back and forth shit, where he just plays with these two retards all day and night and fucks with them, and he just derives infinite enjoyment from having women fight over him. That's what I think is happening in the background. And, of course, that's how you get shot in the back of the head by a woman. So it's a very real... I'm not even joking. I'm not joking about it like I was in the year prior. I feel like that's a real, legitimate, non-0% chance outcome of his current lifestyle and trajectory. Especially if there's drugs involved, and especially if there's money involved, and especially if there's money and drugs both evaporating while he's continuing to do these things. So just to recap again, I think that he will settle the foreclosure by selling the other house. He will take a plea deal, which cops him a felony, but gives him a couple years probation. I don't know what to predict about Montegraph. As I said, if he's smart, he will find a way out of that immediately. And it may even be closed. We may never know what will happen. And then if he doesn't resolve the April shit amicably, I think that she might shoot him. Oh, I forgot. That wasn't actually the prediction I wrote down. I have it in my notes. My official, real prediction this time for Nick Rekieta is that he will deliver the body cam footage to me. I will receive the body cam footage. And I will release the body cam footage. Chat. It's happening. It will happen this year. It's coming. Stalker child. Body cam footage child. You are already mine. It's happening. That's stupid.